respond to dollars.
This Atlanta pastor is referring to big corporations that rolled back their diversity, equity, and inclusion policies to, quote, stay in step with the evolving external landscape.
And that was Target's message to its customers and employees after the current administration promised to eliminate DEI in workplaces across America. Now, could this have a positive impact on our local businesses? That's what I explore in this story.
We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies.
Come on, and if they start losing $29 million a day for 40 days, we will break the back of the system.
On February 28th, an economic blackout was organized by grassroots organizations. Now, this is to encourage people to stop spending at corporations like Walmart and instead put those dollars back into communities by shopping locally.
Hey, come on in.
This is Lewis Cameron Jr., the owner of the Olive Fruit and Enterprise.
Very high polyphenol, very bold, very rich.
He and his wife have been selling olive oils and vinegars in the City of Progress for 10 years. They don't have a specific stance on the issue, but know the impact this could have on their business.
Small businesses here on Main Street depend on people to come down and shop because that's the vitality of the city, not the big box stores. Big box stores are pretty much everywhere. I don't have any problem with big box stores, but Main Street across the country, that's where your economic vitality runs.
According to Placer.ai, Target's foot traffic was down 10% on the day of the blackout compared to the 5 Fridays before, possibly reinforcing the idea that corporations lose when customers aren't happy.
With the vinegar first.
Though it's hard to gauge if the economic blackout and continuation of fast from big box corporations will make a huge difference in sales and overall policies.
Main Street businesses around the country, it's the backbone of business across the United States.
More foot traffic for local businesses is a win-win for Cameron and his hometown.
So we try to keep this.
A 40-day fast from Target started today, and a 1-week Amazon boycott begins on Friday.